an important time in a child's life, and sometimes bedtimes have a lot of friction and challenges and so on. And so let's talk about how we can reduce the friction, increase the closeness, and help a child move into their sleep in a more peaceful way. That's what we want for a child. So, and it's going to take some work. You know, I remember that verse in Hebrews 12, which says that discipline is painful for the moment. It produces this harvest of righteousness and peace. That's what we want with our children, to help them develop this righteousness and peace in their lives. And this peace is going to help them, certainly at bedtime. So let me give you a bedtime routine that you might consider. First of all, we want to get rid of all of the excuses that children have for coming out of bed. So we're going to maybe if the bedtime's 7:30, then for a young child, we're going to say, okay, 7 o'clock, let's read a story. We're going to read a little bit of the story and say, okay, go get on your pajamas and come back and we'll read some more of the story. And then we do that and we say, let's go do your 3 bathroom things and we'll read some more of the story. So we're getting over all of those things before we say, okay, now it's time to bed and go to bed. Let's go in there. And you go in with your child who's young, maybe younger than 12 or whatever. And you go in there and you just, you talk to them. Maybe there's some talking that needs to happen. Kids are often more receptive to talking at bedtime than they are other times. And maybe you're going to encourage them in some way. You might sing to them or whatever you do is fine. But I would encourage you to pray for a child. By putting your hand on their head, you might say, Lord, I just pray you'd give Billy a good night's sleep and good dreams. Because sleep is such an important part of all of our health. And we want children to have that kind of sleep that is very peaceful in their lives. So when we're dealing with young children, we're going to bless them. You can pray and put your hand on a teenager's head and say, Lord, I just want to bless them tonight and ask for that you'll give this particular child a good night's sleep. I like Psalm 4:8, which says, in peace I will lie down and sleep, for you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety. So what we can do here is we help children recognize by praying for them that God is very much involved in their life and especially wants to bless them with peace during their sleep. A great thing that we can do. Let's talk about teenagers for a moment, because I also think we want to have bedtimes and schedules for teens. So many times teenagers want to stay up later than their parents. And you want to make sure that there is some kind of a bedtime. That means turning off electronics, maybe having those electronics parked somewhere where children don't have access to them, maybe in a locked container if they're more inclined to take them out and out of the place where they're supposed to be and use them at night, because sleep is so important for young people as they're growing. They need it for healthy development. And so using it that way is important. And so enforcing some kind of a bedtime, or at least turning off all the electronics and the lights out at a certain time for young people, is important for their development. And you can say, this is just what we do in our family. It's important. And you explain the values behind the rules you're setting. It's not just because you want to go to bed. It's because we value sleep. Because good things happen when you're sleeping. It just does all kinds of things for your brain and also for your body and the healing that goes on. We need good sleep in our lives. And children don't value sleep many times. They would rather value their video game or their social interactions with their friends or their entertainment with a YouTube video or just playing with toys or whatever. So what we're going to do is we're going to help children to be able to develop a strong sense of going to bed and staying in bed. Now, young children, let's go back there for just a moment, because after you say goodnight to them, you might have to sit in the door for a little bit and you get to say one sentence. And that sentence is, it's time for bed. You need to lie quietly. You may have to say it over and over again. But the point is, you're being firm here, not coming back and finding they're playing with toys or something. And your firmness over time, even if you just sit in the doorway for a while, can produce some really good results for that child. And that child learns the independence at bedtime and the self-control necessary to go to bed. And so your work, it will produce this harvest of peace and righteousness in this child's life. So value bedtimes, use them wisely, and you'll find some good things will happen in your child's life.